And I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's breakout session, Zentangle Encore. We were delighted to have Sue and Mary present a Zentangle event in January of this year. And we enjoyed it so much that we asked them if they would do another breakout session for us, and they graciously agreed to do that. This session counts toward our statewide attendance award that was outlined in the March issue of The Voice. And to get credit for being here tonight, please use chat to sign in. You need to type your first and last name and the name of your chapter. Make sure that you're sending the information to everyone. You may do that now if you haven't already done so. And now President Diana will share with you the 10 chapters that are currently in the lead for the attendance award.
I'm going to record a drum roll one of these days and have it ready, but I don't have it ready tonight. So in 10, oh, okay, there you go. So in 10th place is Delta Kappa. 9th is Mu. 8th place is Kappa. 7th place is Gamma Phi. 6th place is Delta Chi. 5th place is Delta Epsilon. 4th is Alpha Chi. 3rd place is Rho or New Rho chapter. 2nd is Gamma. And 1st is Gamma Nu. How exciting. We've got a couple new ones in there, but we still have some regulars there. So I'm excited to see how this is going to go after convention, because we'll have twice as many, 3 times as many to deal with. Then. Thank you, ladies.
There's still plenty of time. We have the convention and then we have all of April still too. All right, at this time, please set your screens on speaker view and mute your computers. And Katie Gantz from Gamma Phi chapter will now introduce tonight's presenters.
Hi, everybody. Our presenters, Sue Dion, hopefully, and Mary Stayner are DKG sisters from Illinois, and they're going to be sharing their time and talent with us this evening. Mary began Zentangle at the Spectacular Texas Art Retreat in 2015 and became a CZT, which is Certified Zentangle Teacher, in 2018. She taught elementary school grades K1 and 4, as well as special education, for a total of 35 years and retired in 2012. She married her high school sweetheart, and they've been married for almost 47 years. They have 2 daughters, 2 sons-in-laws, and 8 grandchildren. The Stayners own Stockton Bowling Lanes, which has been closed since March due to COVID. And Mary says she loves sharing the relaxing art of Zentangle with people of all ages. A day without Zentangle is just not heard of at her house, and her grandkids love it too. Sue Dion is currently serving as chair of the DKG ILSO, Women in the Arts. She is a retired art educator and has been a certified Zentangle teacher since 2016. Sue enjoys teaching Zentangle Method to students of all ages. Welcome to both Sue and Mary, and we're looking forward to learning more about Zentangle tonight.
Thank you. Diana, can you spotlight both Sue and I? Is that possible? Not our camera, though, our faces, please. I know, it's always a challenge, sorry.
We make it complicated.
Yeah.
We like to use 2 devices so that we can see what our class is doing and teach from the camera. So it's a little confusing. But once we get rolling, it works pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Mary spotlighted. She's looking for the one that says Sue Dion, but if she can't find it, we'll just go on, Mary, so that.
We can go ahead and get started. There you are, Sue.
Okay.
Well, we just want to welcome everyone here tonight. We're so excited to return to Ohio. Return. Somebody said, "What was I going to do tonight?" And I said, "I'm going to Ohio." And they're like, "What?" So that's one of the beauties of all of these Zooms. I know COVID has been frustrating, but there are a few silver linings in the clouds, and this is definitely one of them. We're so happy to be here, and we're so excited that you've asked us to come back and that you enjoyed us the last time. We enjoy sharing our love for this relaxing time called Zentangle, and we hope you can sit back and enjoy this Zentangle journey with us. And for some of you, it may be your very first journey. I guarantee it won't be your last. And so if you've decided we tonight have decided to use the traditional 8-step method for you. Sometimes we do Zentangle inspired art, but we're going to actually just concentrate on the Zentangle method tonight. So there are 8 steps, and I have my disclaimer. Sue, you want to say a few words before we go on to the next part?
Well, just to echo what Mary said, we're delighted to be here with you and share our passion for Zentangle art. And we're always happy to do that and thrilled that we have this opportunity because of the technology of Zoom. So if you find that you would like a program sometime in the near future, feel free to contact us again. Oh, one more thing. In case I forget at the end, if you love doing this and you want another opportunity to do some Zentangle, you are all invited to the Illinois State Organization Convention. You would have to register, but you could take a class with us on April 21st at 7 o'clock-ish, 7:15, I think is the actual starting time. So April 21st at 7:15, Mary and I will be presenting a Zentangle surprise, and you might like to join us if you get bitten by the Zentangle bug.
Exactly. All right, well, if you look at my camera, if you can focus on my camera, there is what we call a disclaimer. Sue and I both are certified Zentangle teachers, and we spent 4 intense days learning not how to Zentangle, but how to teach Zentangle. There is a big difference. Rick and Maria are wonderful, phenomenal people who have created this beautiful, mindful art form. And what they're asking us to do with this new technology is to make sure people know that you're getting what Sue and I call the real McCoy when you take a Zentangle class from both of us, because we are certified. And we're not saying that other people can't teach it as well as we do by any means. We're just saying that we have the certification, so what you are getting tonight, will be sanctioned by Zentangle. So there are 8 steps to Zentangle, and I'm going to start with the very first step, which is appreciation and gratitude. We already said how much we appreciate you inviting us back. We are so happy to be here, very grateful for that. But most of all tonight, we want to think about you, the participants, the Zentangle that you're about to experience. You're taking time out for yourself, which is very difficult. Women have trouble with that, basically. We think we have to be everything for everybody. So we're so happy that you're here tonight to do this for yourself, for you. On a daily basis, we know it's crazy out there. Whether you're an active teacher, a retired teacher, a mom, a nurse, a sister, an aunt, whatever, we wear so many hats. So taking this time tonight is super. We're proud of you for doing this. So we want you to take time to settle into your chair and be aware of your inner peace. Be aware of the stillness around you. Listen to your soul. Listen to your heart. Feel all the love that is here tonight with your DKG sisters as you experience another time with your state convention, this time with some relaxation. We're going to appreciate the time that we have together as we join this Zentangle journey. So Rick and Maria Roberts started this in 2003 as a stress-reducing art form, and Sue and I have found that definitely to be the case. And we've had so many people join in with that comment, especially during COVID, how very much appreciated Zentangle has been to them. It has been a lifesaver for me. Like I said, a day without Zentangle is just unheard of in my life. Beautiful images are created by drawing structured patterns, but I want you to think about this. Zentangle is about the process. It's the journey. It's not the end result or the product. So when you're doing this tonight with us, think about what you're doing for yourself, the benefits that Zentangle will have for you. It's easy to learn, inexpensive, portable, and a lot of fun. One stroke at a time. And I'm sorry, I can't get to that. So I would like you to now just sit back, settle into your chair, close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take some time relaxing. I don't know what I can do here. There. I don't know what I just did, but whatever, it's done. Okay. Relax. Take a deep cleansing breath. Breathe in peace. Breathe out anxiety. Breathe in stillness. Breathe out uneasiness. Breathe in calm. Breathe out busyness. Breathe in happiness and breathe out worries. Take a few more deep cleansing breaths. And when you're ready, open your eyes, and Sue's going to start us on our journey. Welcome, welcome.
All right, let's see, get rid of this. So I'm going to show you the basic Zentangle tools that we use in this method. And one of those is some type of a pencil. We like these little short pencils that Zentangle puts out. And you notice they don't have an eraser because there are no mistakes, although it's perfectly okay to use an eraser if you like. And I usually have one because sometimes I just like to clean things up. It doesn't mean there's a mistake. You can use any pencil, any pen, any kind of paper, but the ones that Zentangle really pushes are, a regular #2 pencil and one of those micron pens, which are waterproof. A micron 01 is nice, so is a micron PN. But if all you have available is just a regular black pen, that's fine. Or if you want to use some kind of colored ink, that's also fine. This is a green pen that I might try out tonight. And you need some kind of a blending tool. This is a rolled up stump of paper that we call a tortillon, but you can also use a Q-tip or a cotton ball, or even your finger, or a napkin with just the corner of the Kleenex kind of torn. And you need something to draw on. It could just be a piece of regular paper. We're going to tonight work with these little tiles that Zentangle puts out. This is a regular 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch tile. They come in all sizes and shapes. There's round ones and there's rectangular ones and tiny ones, but we're going to just work with this. But if all you have is a piece of paper, that is perfectly fine. Sometimes I even draw on the back of a greeting card. So if somebody sends me a greeting card, I might use part of the card, to draw on. So the back of the card is a good surface. We tell little kids when we go into the schools, they can draw on the back of an envelope, a box from the cereal that they eat. Whatever you have to draw on is perfectly fine. If you're just drawing with a stick in the sand, that's still good. So we're going to start out with the first tangle tonight. Whoops, jumping ahead. Before we start out with the first tangle tonight, I want to show you the basic strokes. And we like to tell our little ones, I teach a lot with the elementary schools, that if they can write their name, print their name, they can Zentangle. Because Zentangle has these basic marks or strokes, and one of those is the dot. So we have the dot, which we can put them together in various combinations, in lines, in groups, whatever. The next one is a line, which could be very straight, or it might be slightly curved or have a little hook on the end, but some kind of a line. And then we have the crescent shape or the C shape, which can go all different kinds of directions. And it can be a very intense or a very subtle C shape. Then we have the S shape, which again could be very intense. It can be quite ornate. It can be very subtle. It can just be a partial, but some sort of an S shape. And then we have the orb. We call it an orb rather than a circle because we don't want people to think it has to be perfect. And sometimes orbs are more ovalish than circle-ish. So some type of an orb. And again, we can put them together in different sizes and different combinations. So those are the basic strokes that we'll be using tonight, the elemental strokes. So when we get ready to tangle, we're going to start out tonight using our pencil. And we're going to be doing the very traditional Zentangle method, where we're going to work with our corner dots and create a border or a frame and a string. And a string is essentially the area that we're going to be tangling in. So pick up whatever piece of paper or thing that you want to use. We call these tiles because a lot of times when we're doing in-person classes, or if people send us pictures of their pieces, we put them together in what's called a mosaic, where they're all side by side by side, and it makes a really pretty kind of a setup. So when you put multiple tiles together, it becomes a mosaic. So if you have your paper in front of you and your pencil in your hand, I want you to put a little dot very lightly with your pencil. And the reason we're using a pencil is we want this to be able to be like disappear or to go over it. We don't want it to be dominant. So we do it very lightly in pencil. And the key about putting these essential marks on the paper to begin with is it takes a little stress off of you. You don't have to worry about that beautiful blank piece of paper and, oh, I might mess it up. Okay, you've already messed it up. You got marks on it, so you can relax. So we're going to take our pencil and we're just going to lightly in pencil draw across from one dot to the other, very lightly. I'm turning my tile. That keeps it easy on my hand. And it doesn't matter if my line is straight. It can be a little bit wonky or a little bit curved. It doesn't really matter. But we're creating a little border. Now, Mary and I both love jumping over the border. We don't like to be confined, but we get a border on just to give us some parameters, a place to start. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to create kind of a wonky Y shape that's going to go down and across. So I have three sections and it's essentially kind of a wonky Y. So a little bit from the top towards the middle and down and across. So you have a Y shape. That's our string. We call it a string because it's like if you dropped a string on the piece of paper, it makes kind of a pattern. And with that pattern, then we have these various areas, and that's what we're going to draw in. Our first tangle tonight, we're going to put one in each of these areas that have been created by our Y string. And so the first one that we're going to do is called Blooming Butter. And Mary has these already in the chat. Blooming Butter is our first tangle. I always like to put my name on the back of my tiles and date them. Today is the 30th. And I like to put where I'm at. I'm with Ohio State DKG Convention. So this is just my little thing to kind of give me a happy feeling when I look back on it sometime. So Blooming Butter, if you want to practice this briefly with me, you can take a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to do this on the side first so you can see, but here is the basic component of Blooming Butter. I'm going to create 5 little marks, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of somebody walking and, you know, their hands are up in the air. Here's his head, his arm, his leg, his arm. Okay. It's like, hallelujah, here I am. So that's how you start. It can kind of look like a star shape if you like that synopsis better. And then we're going to aura it. Auraing means that you draw another line right beside it. So an aura is a line drawn beside and usually not touching. Then we're going to connect the 2 inner ones with a little curvy line. So this is Blooming Butter. And we go from one to the other, and you're leaving that empty space in between. And the little curves can be any way you want. They can be very subtle, very pronounced. It really doesn't matter. And then we'll put little orbs, maybe about 5 of them, kind of in the interior area. And then we're going to put a little aura around the top this aura is going to be connected on either end, but a little aura around the top. So it's a very forgiving, easy to do tangle, blooming butter, very organic. And a couple little flicks with your pen or your pencil gives a little bit of embellishment to it. And it very much looks like a flower. So that's our basic tangle. So I'm going to put my scrap paper aside. I'm going to take my little tile. And now I'm going to go and use my pen. So I invite you now to pick up whatever pen you want to draw with. If you're drawing with a ballpoint pen, a marker, a Sharpie, a crayon, whatever you have handy. I'm working with an 05 micron pen. I like them because they're waterproof. So I'm just going to pick one of my places that I have, and I don't care which one you choose. And I want to make my 5 little marks that are kind of a little bit curved because this is an organic tangle. And you notice that I'm turning my tile so that I'm very relaxed. My hand isn't, contorting.
What she was playing. Now we're going to do a tangle thing. Here. Okay.
Sue, we can't hear you.
Sue, Diana, focus just on Sue's camera.
Yes.
All right. And Sue, you are muted somehow.
All right. So I don't know how much anybody heard. When did I go muted?
You're okay. You just did the parallel. You're okay.
Okay.
Diana, can you focus just on her camera? Get rid of Sue and get rid of my cameras. That way they'll see the big screen of just Sue's camera. If you can do that, please.
I'll wait a second and see if that happens. I'm going to
Yeah.
skip that one for a minute so that I can make sure everybody heard what I was saying.
Great
Now,
idea.
can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. You're great. We just
And
need
don't hesitate, people, to let us know. I'm going to see if I can get to gallery view and see your faces.
Diana, if you want to make me co-host, I might be able to zap back and forth for you.
Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. We'll do this again since some of you might not have heard me. Here's the basic steps to blooming butter. You're going to make this little 5-point creation. And I like to do them with slightly curved lines because this is an organic tangle. So I'm making these 5 marks, and they kind of look like a little star or maybe like a little guy walking or running. But you have these 5 marks that kind of go around a center area. Now we're going to aura that by drawing a line right beside it. And I'm turning my tile each time as I go. And I'm using my pen now. If you're using your pencil, that's okay. You can always go over it with your pen later. Now that I have auraed each of those beginning marks, I'm going to attach it by going from one to the other. And I'm leaving the space, going to the next one, attaching it. And it's just a nice little S kind of wavy line, no right or wrong. Anything that you do is going to be perfectly okay. So I've connected each of those petals that were created by the auraed lines. And now I'm going to put a little orb, and I'm just kind of tucking mine one at the bottom of each petal, but you might have 2 or you might have more, whatever works best for you. So it's a very much a repetitive pattern. I'm going to now aura the top of it. So I'm going to have this aura connected on either end, and I'm just repeating the line below it. So I'm just repeating the shape of the line. So this is an aura. And in Zentangle, one of the processes that we focus on is auraing. If you don't know what else to do, go ahead and aura. That's the advice that they give us. So then when I have that done, I'm going to put a little flick on each one. If you want to, it might be 1 or it might be 3. I'm putting 2. And that just makes it look a little more petally still. So we're going to go to our next one. And again, it doesn't matter where you put it at. It can be centered. It might go outside of the frame or the border, and that's okay. I was hoping that I would remember that and do it intentionally, but I kind of forgot about it. But it's fun to go outside the border. So embrace that if it happens. So I started with my basic technique, which is putting down the 5 marks that kind of go around in a circle. And now we're going to aura them again, which means you draw another line right beside it. So it's kind of like teaching somebody how to write their ABCs. We teach a tangle in much the same way. We teach the basic elemental stroke, and then the students will each look unique and individual because everybody's marks are different, even though you're using the same technique. And you can see that I went over the string line of my Y, and that's perfectly okay. Nothing says I have to stay right in the space that I've created. It was just something to give us parameters. And then just enjoy going in and creating the aura, mirroring the line that you already have. And I keep turning my tile because my hand is happy if it can be in the most comfortable position. And enjoy placing in your lovely little orbs. And remember, they can be different sizes. They can touch each other. There can be space between them. And however many little flicks that you might like to add to kind of embellish that petal of the flower. Then I'll go to my last area where I've already drawn my beginning marks and auraed it. Well, you couldn't hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those. And it's very much just focus on one stroke at a time. Don't worry about what's coming next. And when you're doing this by yourself and you don't have anybody talking, it can get very restful because you're just kind of focusing. And that's why it's so good for people. It really helps students deal with focus. It helps eliminate stress. It's used a lot as a technique for insomnia. If you do any of the reading on the research in Zentangle, you'll find all kinds of things in the literature about how it's impacted student scores, about how it's helped people find rest and peace. So I now have 3 little blooming butters in my little Y shapes. And now we're going to play a little bit with some vining shapes. And we're going to kind of like connect one to another. So I'm going to start wherever I feel like it. There's no right or wrong. And I'm going to go from this one and kind of arc it up and come over to this one. And then I'm going to aura that line by connecting it again and coming clear around. So it creates kind of a little vine, and it kind of just unites these pieces a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take another one wherever I feel like it. And I'm going to come on out here and connect. And I'm going to come on out and aura that line and connect. So no right or wrong. I'm going to show you something here that you'll think is a boo-boo, but it works out kind of neat if I can remember how to do it. So I'm going to come around here. And normally I would want to come to this one. Oh, I still didn't make the boo-boo. When I want to make a boo-boo, I can't. But sometimes, I'll see if I can find one that I did that on. Yeah, this one. On this one, you can see there's a little twist right here because I went on the wrong side. But look how cool it looks. It looks like a ribbon turning in on itself. So you really can't make a mistake. I thought, oh, I made a mistake. And then I'm like, no, I like it. So it's okay if you kind of cross over. It makes a nice dimension. Then with some of the other places that you have left, I could have one just go off the page. So I'm just going to have this one go off the edge. So you see, I went over my border. And then sometimes I like to throw this in, and you don't have to do this. You can just have another one go off the page there. But if I wanted to, I could create one where I came up And instead of just going off or connecting, I could come around in a circle like that. If you want to try this with me, feel free. Now I am orring it, which means I'm repeating the line. And when I get up here, I'm just going to draw a little orb on the end. So it makes kind of a neat shape called mooka. That's M-O-O-K-A, if you want to try that. But you don't have to. You can just do the pieces that go off the side just as well. So wherever you feel like it, I might go ahead and connect maybe this one just for fun. So whatever you want to do. If you feel like adding any of those little crazy mookas, they can go behind the vines. All right. So I'm going to call that good for the moment, although you can add some more later if you want. And I'm going to show you some shading, because one of the key things about Zentangle is to add some graphite, because adding some shading or some darkness to it really brings the drawing to life. So I'm going to take my pencil now. So lay your pen down. And if you haven't drawn all three of them and you haven't connected them all, it doesn't really matter, because you can go back and do this at your leisure as well. But I'm going to pick up my pencil now, and I'm going to use it kind of on its side, not up and down like you're writing letters, but laying it on its side. And with the edge of the pencil on the inside of that initial petal shape, I'm laying down a little line of graphite. And I don't know if there's anything in the chat that needs to have attention. If anybody's looking at the chat, let me know if anybody's got questions. But by adding this little bit of graphite right along the edge of the line that we drew in ink, I'm going to create a little shadow, which is going to add a great deal to this. All right. When we get done doing the shading, Mary's going to have you add some leaves, and we'll teach you some more tangles. So try to leave some space for some leaves, and they can kind of overlap as well when we get to that. But I'm just laying a line of graphite down along the edge inside of each petal.
Sue,
Yes.
Marsha Waters is asking a question.
Okay.
Looking at the anything is possible slide, one stroke, what are the words at the bottom of that screen?
Anything is possible, one stroke at a time.
Sue, I think she was referring to your little tiles that you had laying out there, your little bijouisms. Do you remember which ones you had?
I had the one no mistakes, and it's B-U-ism. This one?
Yeah, I think
No
that's what
mistakes.
you're referring to, maybe, was the little ones.
And this one that I had up, I think you couldn't probably see one stroke at a time. I think all you could see was anything is possible, one stroke at a time. So that's kind of the manta. Anything is possible, one stroke at a time.
She says, thanks. That was exactly what she wanted to know.
Okay. All right. And the other key thing to keep in mind, besides anything is possible, one stroke at a time, as I told you, there are no mistakes. And little Bijou, this little snail, is kind of the mascot, and that's his thing. So I'm going along. And again, if anybody sees something in the chat, let me know, because I have trouble remembering to look at it. Just laying a little line of graphite with the edge of my pencil right along the edge of each line. This Zentangle process does qualify for continuing education points, at least in the state of Illinois. I don't know how it is in Ohio, but it does meet the guidelines for professional development credit if you have an hour-long session, which usually it takes us an hour to do a session. All right. And once I've done each of these petals on the inside, and you'll notice that I always have the pencil pointing towards the line that I'm trying to put the graphite next to. If I have it pointing towards the line, it's easier for me to stay right there. these designs are beautiful just in the black and white with the gray, but we can also add color, which we'll try to give you a little introduction to color tonight. See how our time goes. Once I have done all the interior of the petals, I'm now going to take my pencil and I'm going to go right above the aura. So I'm staying outside the line of the aura. I'm just going around and laying a little graphite right along the edge of each aura. This is going to make the petal look like it's jumping up off the page, because we'll create this little subtle shadow around it. A lot of times people are afraid to add shading. You know, they've got this lovely thing going on and they're like, oh, I don't want to mess it up. But we find if we show it to you in steps like this, you're more likely to embrace this technique and reap the benefits of it. And remember to breathe. Don't get so involved in your drawing that have a death grip on your pencil and you've forgotten to take a breath now and then. Now I'm going to continue outlining the outside of my little vines with my graphite, right on the outside of each of these little viney shapes. And if you created a muka, you go around the outside of it. But if you just did vines, that's fine too. Some people like a little extra challenge, so I threw it out there for you. So I want that vine to kind of jump off the page. So I'm putting that little bit of graphite right around the edge. And everybody can still hear me, right?
Yep.
We've had a few technical difficulties. Audio isn't always great.
It's great tonight, Sue.
I have to remember to ask about it. All righty, so I think I have just about put graphite everywhere where I want it, but I can always add more later too. But if you haven't quite finished, it's okay. You can come back to it later. But I'm going to pick up my blending tool next. So if you have a rolled up stump of paper, that's fine. Or if you have a Q-tip, I'm going to take this one and kind of twist it with my fingers. It tightens that fuzzy stuff up on the Q-tip a little bit. And then I'll just do it with a Q-tip first so you can see it really does work kind of the same. But I'm going to take the Q-tip. This one's kind of worn out. I've been using it for a while. I probably should have got a fresh one, but I'm going to blend with this Q-tip and it's going to drag a little bit of that graphite away from the edge. And again, I'm pointing it. I'll get my blending tool. If I'm on the outside of my aura line, like I am here, I can either rock back and forth like this so that I just get a little bit of graphite coming away from the line. So I'm going along the edge of my vine. I'm staying on the outside, leaving that vine open. So to do the outside, I'm just going along the edge and kind of a rocking back and forth motion. On the inside, I can either do soft circles where I'm swirling it around a little bit, and that brings the graphite out a little more, but you don't want to take it clear to the center. I want to leave that center part of the flower petal open and white. All right. It's kind of odd. Looking at my camera, I have this the one with the one stroke at a time kept showing up on there, and it's like that hasn't been on the camera for some time, but it's still on my camera. That is really weird. Okay, now
We're seeing you, your camera.
when I'm looking at my iPad camera surface, that thing about one stroke at a time was still up there, although on the gallery view, I could see that my drawing was up there. So that was something kind of unusual tonight. It's always something different. So you see what's happening. The gray graphite is visually changing, creating this illusion of depth on this flat surface. There's no light sources to worry about. All you're doing is creating depth. If you find that you're very intrigued with this thing called Zentangle, we encourage you to get on Zentangle.com and see some of their YouTube videos. They have all kinds of tutorials out there and step outs. They'll discuss their method and how you might use it and benefit from it. So we're just going to continue going around, and we may not get the whole thing shaded before we turn this over to Mary, but we'll work a few more moments. We'll get ready to add some leaves and some other fun tangles. We work with just one tangle. It's called a monotangle. So right now it's pretty much a monotangle, although I added in that little bit of muca. I keep my blending tool pointed towards the line that I'm working on. So you continue to turn your tile. Make that easy. And how's everybody feeling about this? Most of you shading along nicely? Mary and I do this with a variety of people, from Mary's youngest granddaughter, I think you said was 2 or 3.
She was 2.5 when she started with me. Yep.
And my oldest one was over 90.
Yep.
So any age can benefit from the joy of Zentangle.
And people with disabilities as well. I remember one time I had a lady with Parkinson's, and she was struggling with the pencil and the paper. So we gave her a bigger piece of paper and a longer pencil, and she just made the most beautiful Zentangle creation. So no matter who you are, no matter where you are or what your circumstances, Zentangle can be a benefit.
And everybody will have their preferences. Some people prefer to work with more mathematical kinds of designs and grids, more geometric. Other people like the more organic or freeform. You'll just kind of develop your own preference and style. But you can see that I have now blended mine all around so that I have the gray outside the aura and the gray inside the petal. But I've left the aura white because that's an area where we could add some color later. So if you want to kind of give us a thumbs up or hold your tile up and let us know if you are ready to go on for the next part, which is Mary's leaves. Give me an idea. I see tiles and thumbs going up, so that's looking hopeful. They look great, ladies. Appreciate the quick visual. It's so different teaching via Zoom. So I'm going to turn this over to Mary. So let's see if we can highlight Mary's camera. And she's going to show you how to add some leaves. And there's Mary's camera highlighted. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So I think I have mine all caught up now. Thank you, Sue. That was so relaxing. We're going to create some leaves. And leaves, as you know, in nature are many different shapes, many different sizes. And you are going to find a spot inside here. We're going to teach you 3 tangles within the leaves. So you can choose if you have room for 1 leaf for each petal or each flower, if you have 2, if you only have room for 1 leaf on the entire tile, it's perfectly fine. You can practice the other tangles on the back if you want to, or wherever. But we also have a technique. Sue mentioned the technique of aura, which is the shadowing technique, the echo kind of look. We also have them called hollybaw, which we call the behind technique. And that's named after one of Rick and Maria's son-in-laws, Nick Hollybaugh. And so what that means is, instead of going through one of the vines or over one of the flowers, we're going to go behind it. And it gives a real 3D look. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my first leaf right here with my pen, and I'm just going to make it come up, and I'm going to jump over that vine and come back down. And it's actually going to fill in this whole section. I'm just going to pretend that's my leaf for one of them. Then I think I'm going to turn my tile, and I'm going to jump over the fence here and make just a little leaf right there. When I say jump over a fence, I mean my border line there. There's a nice big space here for a leaf, and I'm going to contain that leaf within this section. And I made so many vines, I'm not sure if I have very many spots for leaves. I might just use those 3 tonight. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to go ahead and draw your leaves where you want them. 2, 3, 5, however many you'd like. I'm going to get back to gallery view here so that I can see everybody. So when you look up at me, I'll know you're ready to do the tangles within the leaves, okay? And so you can kind of help me with that if you would.
Okay. Taking a look. You can either hold your tile up or give a thumbs up when you have your leaves drawn. I'm going to scan through the gallery, see where we're going. I see thumbs going up.
Perfect. I see some really beautiful smiles too, ladies.
Yeah, we like the smiles. You know, we're on the right track. Okay, Mary, I'd say they're ready.
Okay, so the first one we're going to do is called Betweed. 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 And that actually is named kind of happenstance. We're not sure where all these names come from, but this one was actually named by Rick himself. He was trying to say between or behind or something, and he came up with betweed, so they created this tangle. So I'm just going to draw a little leaf here on my scrap paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on either left or right. It doesn't matter. I'm a lefty, so I'm going to start on the left. I'm just going to make a little arced line going from left to right. And that kind of creates a little natural Y shape here. And then I'm going to color that little Y shape in. Then since I started on the left, my next line will start on the right. And I'm going to go kind of to the middle of the arc line I made previously. Create my little natural Y and color that little section in. Go back to the left, go to the middle, make my Y, color it in. Go to my right, go to the middle, make my Y, color it in. And it creates this beautiful little woven look. You know, with Palm Sunday just happening, it kind of reminds me of the palms, how some people can weave those in and out. So that's what Betweed looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my tile. And I'm going to choose one of my leaves. It doesn't matter which leaf you want. And we're going to go ahead and do Betweed. I'm going to choose this one. Like I said, I'm going to start at my left. And it doesn't matter how far down you start. It doesn't matter how close together they are. Everybody's leaf will look different depending on the size and the shape of the leaf. But it's basically just going left, right, creating an arc, filling in that little Y. And this is a beautiful, relaxing, organic tangle. And if you are ending up having to go behind one of your pieces, just kind of visualize where that line might come out on the other side and fill it in. And since there are no mistakes and you are the artist, you can make it do whatever you would like it to do. If you're having a matching betweed, I'm going to ask that you do your matching betweed later. I'm going to give you time to get your first betweed done before I teach you the next leaf tangle. So same thing, when you're ready to go to the new tangle in another leaf, thumbs up or show us your tile or whatever so we know. Oh good, I'm seeing lots of thumbs. That was an easy one, yeah. And it's so relaxing. It's so fun. Okay. I'm going to go to the next page and look at people. I'm seeing mostly heads up, very few are down. So I guess that means we're ready to do another leaf. So the next leaf I'm going to do is Shattuck, Shattuck. Not sure of the story behind that one. Not sure if I'm even pronouncing it correctly, but that's what we're going to call it tonight. Making a leaf. Now, if your leaf is super fat, you can actually do 2 sections of this tangle. I will demonstrate it and then I'll let you decide which way you want to go. But basically what you're going to do, and I'm going to use an arc. You can use a straight line like this, but I'm going to do an arced line. So I'm going to start at the end of my leaf and I'm going to make an arc. And then that's going to be my new border, my new string, and I'm going to come back and aura all the way to the beginning of that leaf. So filling in that first space. Then I like to turn my tile and I make my next arc. And again, I work back to where I came from, filling in those aura lines. Turning my tile. And if you look, you can see my arc went this way. I always like to go back and look to see what I did. Sometimes I get kind of confused on which way my arc is going. So I use the first one as an example, and that kind of steers me in the right direction. So then of course I turn my tile again and I can see my arc is going this way, and I go back, okay? So I'm going to grab my tile. And I'm actually going to do that on this one because this one has a behind. I want to show you how I do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my first arc. I think I'm going to make it go this direction. And then I work back to the beginning of my leaf. Then I think I'm going to pretend that this arc is going to go, see, it went this way. So I'm going to turn my tile and I need it to go this way and fill in these empty gaps. It's hard when you have something going through it. Just do the best you can. Make your next arc. And like I said, if you want these to be straight instead of arced, perfectly fine. The first Shattuck was straight, and then somebody decided to change it to arc lines. The variation in your tangles makes it that much more interesting. And if you do get a chance to go into Zentangle.com or Tangle Patterns, you will see there are thousands of tangles, firstly. And secondly, people take a tangle and they tweak it. They make it their own. And then they say it's a variation of whatever that original tangle was. Zentangle headquarters gives us all of these original ones. And then we as CZTs and other people, they make it their own by creating a variation or a version of it. And that makes it lots of fun. Okay, so there is Shattuck. And again, I'd like you to hold off if you have a second one, just for the sake of time. Wait a couple minutes and I'll show you the next one.
Okay, I'm kind of scanning through,
All right, thanks.
looking for thumbs up or tiles up.
Heads up, 7 up. Primary school teacher, you'll remember that one. So
Okay.
the next one we're going to do is called Doodah. And Doodah kind of looks like a zipper. And the shading is what brings Doodah to life. So I start in the middle of my leaf on the top. And I'm going to come down to the next side, but I'm going to stop before I get all the way there. And then you have a choice of starting at the bottom and going up to stop. Or if you want to just go the same way with your hand and remember to start and stop in the right place. I've seen people do it both ways. I get so accustomed to my hand being in one position that I'm not real crazy about making my lines go up and down. I like them just to go one direction. So when we shade, you'll see Doodah come to life. So I'm going to take my leaf, and I just have a kind of a tiny leaf here, but I'm still going to start in the middle. I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to stop before I reach the bottom. Then next to it, I'm going to try and make my spacings as similar as I can. And I'm going to start a little beyond the top. So you have a zipper effect here. And if for some reason you accidentally do two go in the same direction, it's okay. Not to worry. And there's doodah. And if you look at it, you can already see the little zipper on it. But once we shade it, that zipper is going to come to life and be more 3D looking. So once you have those 3 tangles done, I'm going to let you finish those tangles on your leaves on your own. I'm going to show you the shading technique in them. And like Sue had already told us, we like to put our pencil pointing at what we're shading so that the shading stays within the confines of what we're shading. We don't want everything to be gray. It makes a highlight. So I'm going to outline each of my leaves so that any of the shading actually comes toward the center or the inside of the leaf, not on the outside of the leaf. And then as long as I'm on Shattuck, if you notice, some of the lines look like they intersect. So if I go ahead and trace each of my original lines, you're actually going to be making a highlight going across the opposite direction, and it really makes a cool effect when we shade. Then when we do betweed, I pretty much leave that alone because my black is in the middle and the black and the graphite don't play very well together, so I kind of just leave that. But if I color it, I can color over it. And then doodah, I actually go ahead and take either the tip or the very edge of my pencil and I outline or trace over each of those little doodah lines just ever so gently. Doesn't take a lot of graphite. Put too much graphite on and it will all become a gray scumble of graphite. So then taking my tool, my blending tool, and like Sue said, you can do round circle motions, but if you do that, you're going to get a larger amount of graphite pulled into your piece. So when I do my leaves, I pretty much either trace it or rock back and forth, and you can see the graphite's coming out. And then when you do your little doodah lines, just gently tickle them just a little bit, and then you'll see that it has a 3D look. It almost looks like an intestinal tract going through there. Okay, and then when we do our Shattuck, again, just rock back and forth, not bringing too much gray into our piece, turning our tile so that our tortillon is pointing at where the graphite is. Same with here, I pull it down away into the opposite direction. So what I mean is, see how my lines are going perpendicular? So I pull it down into it and it just brings a little bit more dimension into it. And then with betweed, I'm just going to rock back and forth on the outside, creating a little bit of a shadow on the edge of both sides of the leaf. Okay. Diana, how long do we have? Do we have time to do some coloring technique?
I think the girls would want to know how to do that.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Sue, I'm going to go ahead and start with the chalk pencils, okay?
Perfect, perfect.
Sue and I like to use what are called chalk pencils, and we use the brand that Zentangle sells, and they're the General's pencils. And they are very, very friendly to the tiles that we use. The tiles that Rick and Maria have chosen kind of have a cottony feel to them, so the chalk just blends in super, super well. So I'm going to take a green, and all I'm going to do, just ever so lightly, take a little line of green going down one side and then the other. And you can notice I'm not putting a lot on there. And then I have like a yellow ochre, or ochre. I'm going to put that between my green lines. Then I'm going to take my tortillon and scumble through those just a little bit and blend them. Then the green and the yellow just all blend together. So I pretty much do that on all of my leaves. And you can vary it and make like one of them darker on one side and lighter on the other side instead of doing that striping look. Because as you know, the sunlight, which we don't really worry about the sunlight as far as shading goes, but if you want it to have some life on one side and maybe not so much on the other, you can see the difference, how that's lighter, whereas here it's lighter in the middle. And then when I do shaddock, I pretty much just go back over that line or that first space and pull it down into my piece with my blending tool. That's my dark green, and then I'll come back with my yellow. Now Sue's going to have a lot more exciting coloring things going on because she has all those beautiful flowers. And maybe she'll let me color a couple of them too. We'll see.
Yeah, why don't you color one first?
Time goes. Okay. So then I just blend all, like you can tell, I'm not being real particular with the yellow and the green. They blend with this chalk pencil just so nicely. I'm just going to hold it up a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead, Sue, if that's all right. I'll go ahead and I'll start with, this is called heliotrope, which is kind of a purplish color, but it's a pinkish color too. So I'm going to start with my chalk pencil, and I'm just going to start right here in the center of my flower, and I'm just making lines coming up and down. I'm not really worrying a whole lot about those little dots because I like to take my jelly rolls or my colored pencil or my marker and really make those pop out. So there I have my heliotrope, and I don't care if I have a what they call a dirty tortillon, doesn't matter. The purple is still going to show. I just keep using the same tortillon over and over. If you had a different color tortillon for every color that you were going to use, you'd have a whole palette full of tortillons. Then I'm going to go ahead and take some pink. I'm going to go on the top of this with my pink, and I'm doing a little bit heavier handed with that. Coloring it in a little bit more. Sue's going to show you colored pencils, but you can use colored pencils, watercolors, markers. Those of you that are familiar with the different art medium, you can use anything you want to on here. But now I'm just blending that pink in with the purple. They just kind of all blend in together. You can see it on my tile. And I'm going to go back to my yellow ochre and do my center. Yellow ochre. Not quite sure how to pronounce that one either. I know ochre is a vegetable, so I bet it's ochre. I'm just pulling that out in there. And then I have a brown, and I might just make a couple little flicks of brown in here. And that little brown can just be scumbled or buffed in there. And then of course I have the border. I think maybe I'll take orange on the border. You can use the same color, you can use contrasting colors, complementary colors. I'm not an art teacher, but I love art, so I love to dabble and play. And so when I do this, an art teacher might say, "What'd you do that for?" And I'll say, "I liked it." And that's perfectly a-okay.
That's all that matters, is that the creator likes it.
That is exactly right. Sue's an art teacher, she's never once told me, "What'd you do that for?" So I know it's fine. All right, so there is mine using the yellow ochre, the purple, the pink, and the orange all put together. Now Sue has some really awesome techniques that she's going to show us, okay?
Well,
Thanks, Sue. I'll see if I can
okay.
talk to Sue now.
They're not really so awesome, but I'll just show you some basic things that you might choose to play around with. I did one in pinks just so you can see some variations. So it would be the same no matter which color you just started to work with, but I'm going to go kind of from lighter to darker. So I'm going to start with my my lightest color purple, which I think is this one. So if you pick, 3 pinks or 3 blues or 3 reds, whatever it is you want to work with. So I'm going to start with my lightest purple, and I'm using a Prismacolor color pencil. And these are more waxy. They don't blend quite as easily as the chalk pencils, but they have some other qualities that are kind of cool. So I'm just going to very, very lightly, with just a feather light touch and kind of little circles, put down a very, very light layer. I'm not really trying to color this in solid. You can see a lot of the white tile coming through my light purple. So I'm just tickling the surface of the paper with my colored pencil. And it doesn't have to be Prismacolor. It could be any colored pencils that you have. It's just this is a little higher quality than some of them. So it's a little more wax in it. Then I'm going to take a slightly darker purple, and I'm going to stay more towards the edge and not towards the center. And again, I'm putting on a very light amount. And you can see that this goes right over the top of the graphite that we put on. So the graphite just kind of adds to the shadowing, the look that you're getting. You can kind of see it in the pinks too. So I'm just going in little soft circles, lightly, not pressing very hard because I don't want to put a ton of wax down. And I'll bring it down the sides just a little bit, but I'm going to leave it more light in the center so that just the lightest white is in the center, the lightest purple and a little more white. Then I'm going to take one more darker purple. Let's see what we got here. This is a fairly nice dark purple. And I'm going to go over the top of that yet again. And I'm just building up layers of this violet color, kind of coming down the sides a little bit. And it's just a matter of building up layers. Just little soft circles. Just gently adding some of the darker color on top of the lighter ones. And if I feel like I think I need a little more of my second color, I'm going to go back in with that and just add some. So I'm trying to get 3 tones of whatever color I'm working with, whether it's pink or it's blue or it's purple or yellow oranges, whatever you're working with. So I've got my lighter one in the center. So I'm trying to create some depth with color shading. So lighter in the middle and going out, or I could do it in the reverse. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. And then I'm going to take maybe a yellow and just put on the inside for some kind of contrasting color. And if you want to, you could use a completely different color for the little dots. Or you could, I'll try a red on this one just to be weird. I don't know. So I'm going to put red dots there. And then I have that little aura area, and I can either decide on the pink one, I did it with a darker pinky red color. Maybe on this one, I'll do it with, let's try, I'm going to go light this time just to show you something different. Maybe I'll go with, I'm going to go with a lighter blue because I can always go back over it with something else if I'm not happy with this. It's very forgiving. So I'm just adding a little lighter color to my aura compared to the other one where I added a darker color. I could also go over that with a jelly roll, which Mary kind of mentioned, which are pins that are kind of glittery, and that might be kind of fun too. And then if you want to, if you have a tool to use for blending, this is just a cream colored Prismacolor. It's called Cream. And it is used as a blending tool. And I'm going to go over this so you can see what happens. So you can see on this one, compared to the others where I didn't blend, it just makes it a little more subtle. So if you want to try a blending tool and just kind of go over those colors, it will kind of even them out, blend them. And I'm pressing a little harder when I get to using a blending tool. All right. So you can just continue on your own over the next couple of days. We hope that you'll finish your piece and that you will post it for us on one of our web pages that we're going to put up here for you to see again in a few minutes. But one other very important thing that we haven't done yet is our chop or our initial. I still have one flower to do, but I can do that later and you can too. So I'm going to do my chop first and then I'll have Mary show you hers. My little vines, I can color them in whatever I want. I could go with the yellow, I could go with a green or something completely different and use kind of the same techniques that we used on the leaves or the flowers. Just have fun with it. So I've been just using a very simple chop, which is just my initials, and you can just find a place where you want to tuck it in at. I think I'll do mine right here. I'm going to put a letter D, And then I'm going to put the S right on the stem. And I'm going to give it a little dot for an embellishment. And I'm going to put a little weight on the edge of my front of my D just to make it a little more pronounced. And a chop is just kind of your signature. So it's just an identifying mark. This is an Asian technique of using a chop. So there's my chop, and Mary's going to show you hers.
Okay. All right. And my chop has a little bit of a story to it. And so if those of you have heard it before, I apologize for being redundant. But when I was in grade school, my name had 4 initials. I went to a parochial school, so we were encouraged to do some sort of an identity for all of our artwork. So my name was Mary Lynn Margaret, was my confirmation name, Lightson. So that was my chop all through grade school, all through high school, all through college. Then I got married, and it didn't work anymore. So then it was just MS. Sometimes I printed it, sometimes I did it in cursive. Then I became a Zen artist, and I realized that my maiden name actually ends in the syllable Zen. So my sister is a yoga teacher, and I'm a Zentangle teacher, and so we're both kind of in that Zen mode with our name. Who knew, that would happen? And then my maiden name ends with the syllable N-E-R. So if you put that together, I'm known in the Zentangle world as Zenner. And it's a little harder to find a space for 6 letters, but I just find it anywhere I happen to think it's gonna fit. And I just put it in there, all capitals I've decided. It used to be lowercase, and then I changed it over the time. So your chop can evolve with your artwork. It can evolve with your personality, however you want it to look. Okay, so we encourage you all to do your chop. And if there are any questions, Sue and I are happy to answer them. If you have any email questions, feel free to email us. We do encourage you to please, please, please send a picture of your finished tile. And Sue and I could Zentangle all night. We'd be here till midnight if you'd let us. But we know that there's other things that you ladies need to do tonight, so we're not going to keep you all night. But if it would be okay with you, we would probably appreciate seeing some sort of a screenshot. Would you be able to do that for us? Diana, do you think we could have a screenshot where everybody holds up their tile?
Well, I'll have to do several. We've got 3 screens full of people.
I'll do it
Yes.
too. So if you feel comfortable holding up your artwork and letting us have a peek at it, that would be so fun. We would really appreciate it. If you feel comfortable, hold your piece up and hold it steady, because we're going to go to 3 different pages. Hang on, I'm switching pages. I don't know about anybody else. So if you'll hold them steady, if you're comfortable showing off your beautiful work.
Keep them up there, ladies. They are absolutely stunning.
It's very exciting to see them.
Yes, Nan, the yellow really pops. I love that. And somebody did a green background. That's beautiful, Patricia. Linda, gorgeous flowers. Oh, those blooming butters are beautiful. Sandy, awesome. I'm just looking at page 1. Holy cow, let's go. Oh, Peggy, very striking. Lots of drama, they call that. Hannah,
Yeah.
beautiful. I love how you made your vines go all around and you colored within. Beautiful, beautiful. Pamela, lovely.
It's really fun to see the variations. And that's the beauty of Zentangle, like snowflakes. No 2 are alike. It's like handwriting. They're all unique and wonderful. Beautiful work, ladies.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to, let's see here, see if I can spotlight Sue and I so that we can do a, get rid of this one, remove that spotlight. See if I can. We'll see what I can do here. I'm trying to get me back on here. And spotlight. Should be both of us. There we are. Okay, we did it. All right. Well, ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for having us again. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you found some relaxing time for yourselves tonight. And like Sue said earlier, if you would like us to do another class with you, we would love to join you. I would love to come to Ohio to do one for you myself. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and we really appreciate it. Sue, anything to add, dear?
Nope, but if you want more Zentangle fun, join us at the Illinois State Organization DKG Convention on April 21st at 7:15. You just have to register so that you can get the Zoom link. And I believe you can go to the Lambda State website and get the registration form. And it's pretty easy to get a hold of. But if you need it another way, we can also email it to you. So, and if you want to add color to your background, I stuck mine up there with some chalk pencil in the background. We didn't have time to show you that tonight, but there's so many things you can do with it. I'm looking at Mary's there with a bold border on it. So you can do different things.
I'll see if I can replace the spotlight. Replace. And we'll get to Sue. Hang on, Sue. I'm going to replace you. And add Sue.
So happy tangling is all we can say.
There we go. All right. So here's a couple, Sue, if we can just scroll through them if you want. We're both up. So here's one with some orange. Here's one that's just black and white. And black and white is also very striking just because of the graphite. Here's another black and white. Here's another color. Sue, you want to share yours?
I put one up here that's black and white with a gray background, one that's got a blue background, and I don't have the other one done. The others are downstairs, so I'm not going to bother getting those, but you can just see some variations that way. However you like to finish yours, have fun with it.
Yes.
Thank you again, ladies.
Very nice. Thank you for being with us tonight and guiding us through the Zentangle. And it's amazing, you know, when you break it down like that and take it step by step. Yours is amazing anyway. I mean, when I looked at yours, I thought, whoa, whoever Sue is, oh, I know who Sue is. It was just beautiful. But taking it step by step, we can really come up with something nice. Thank you so much for doing that for us. We do appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Linda,
Yes.
we've got a couple questions. One from Rosalind Gadd. Is there a tutorial for the fancy lettering?
What do you mean by fancy lettering?
Well, at the beginning, you had your saying, what was it?
Anything is possible, one stroke at a time.
Right.
Not
This?
really. That's calligraphy work that
Okay.
Maria did. So you would just study calligraphy anywhere, but that was just something that Maria put out with Zentangle.com. Maria, who's one of the originators of Zentangle, was a calligraphy artist first, correct, Mary?
Yes, yes. She was a calligraphy artist, and Rick was some sort of a, I don't want to call him a psychologist, but
A monk. He was a monk.
he was a monk. That's right. And so he's the Zen and she's the drawing, and they came together and created this beautiful, beautiful piece. So yes,
Nice
so
job.
calligraphy work would take care of that for you.
Okay. And then Marsha Waters has another, is the shading all done with the graphite pencils?
Yes, basically.
Mhm.
All the shading on this was done with graphite pencil, but then we did some additional shading with our chalk pencils and colored pencils if you chose to add color. But basically that graphite that you put down affects everything else that happens. So you always graphite shade first, even if you're going to use colored pencil or chalk pencil, you start with your graphite.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions?
That's all I saw in chat.
Okay. Again, thank you, Mary and Sue. You're just amazing. And you've opened our eyes to a whole new way to relax and be artistic at the same time.
That's what we hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Relax
did it. You
and
did it.
enjoy.
And I want to remind all of you ladies, if you haven't signed in for attendance, make sure you go into chat, put your first and last name and your chapter name. Also, if you want PDU credit, my email address is in there. If you have gotten PDU credit from other sessions, I have your address. So I just don't want to overlook anybody if you want that credit. Okay, here's a news flash. There is no breakout session on this Thursday, but this Thursday is when the April issue of The Voice comes out. And it is jam-packed with information, important information about the Virtually Yours DKG OSO State Convention. And there's going to be another convention preview number 2. And President Diana calls us, let's get all our ducks in a row. And it's scheduled for Monday, April the 5th, this coming Monday at 7 p.m. And the link for the convention preview part 2 will be in the state newsletter. It will be on the state website. And I'm sure Kathy's going to put out an e-blast this weekend with all that in it. Even though the voice comes out on Thursday, she is so good about coming out with those e-blasts also. And next week's going to be very busy, but it's going to be a zooming great time. It's been good to have all of you here. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Happy
Thank
Easter.
you.
Easter, yeah.
Easter.
Care.
Well, thank you, Diana and Linda, very much.
Oh, you're
Oh,
welcome.
thank
I've got to
you.
figure out how to do the spotlighting a
You
little
did
bit.
a great job with the spotlighting. I was very impressed. It's hard to do.
It is hard to do, and I've got to learn to do it pretty quickly because we have, what are we doing? Installation of officers. So that would be a good thing to do.
Actually, Diana, if you click on the dot up there, it'll say add spotlight, replace spotlight. That's the easiest way to do it. That's what I kept doing tonight for you.
Right. Yeah. I realized that after I kept going through the entire list, I think this has got to be an easier way to do this. So,
Yep,
yeah.
there's 2 little dots and you can add and you can replace, and that's how I was getting
And
both.
remove. Yes. 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 Thank
I hope
you.
you didn't mind I did that. I just thought that'd be easier.
Yes. Oh, I'm not no, it helped me. So I could,
Any- Any way to lessen stress.
yes. The pictures are beautiful. Oh my gosh.
They're amazing.
They are amazing.
And
So
anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.